We've all dreamed at some point of witnessing the magic of the Arctic, watching polar bears play atop glistening icebergs, or standing in awe beneath the shimmering aurora borealis. But when it comes to Antarctica, it's a very different story. Unlike its northern cousin, this frozen land won't be swarming with tourists anytime soon. Curious why? Let's dive in. First off, where is Antarctica? Tucked away at the southernmost point of our planet, Antarctica sits squarely on the South Pole, surrounded by the vast Southern Ocean. It's a land almost completely covered in ice, making it one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Ever met someone who's been there? Chances are slim. Only a lucky few adventurers have set foot on its icy ground, a place dominated not by cities or civilization, but by glaciers and endless frozen plains. Yet, believe it or not, the wildlife and landscapes here are nothing short of jaw-dropping. So why shouldn't we all just hop on a plane and go? For one, Antarctica's ecosystem is extremely fragile. It has no native human population, and visiting feels more like stepping onto a deserted island at the edge of the world. And then there's the price tag. Visiting Antarctica isn't cheap. It's one of the most expensive travel destinations on Earth. But beyond the cost, there's an international agreement called the Antarctic Treaty. It protects the continent from harmful human activities and bans any kind of military or industrial testing. The goal? To keep Antarctica peaceful, pristine, and scientifically valuable. The truth is, this frozen land is off limits not because no one wants you there, but because it needs to be protected. Even the smallest human impact can disrupt the delicate balance of its ecosystem. That's why most people aren't allowed to just waltz in. For Americans, for example, it requires special permission through the Office of Ocean and Polar Affairs. And once you're there, strict rules apply. No disturbing wildlife, and absolutely no taking rocks, plants, or any souvenirs from the environment. So, could we live there? Technically, no laws forbid you from living in Antarctica. But practically speaking, it's nearly impossible. Temperatures can plunge to minus 60 degrees Celsius, or even lower, making it deadly without serious gear and experience. The nearest continent is over 1,600 kilometers away, which means living there would be the ultimate test of isolation. Maybe one day, technology will bring us closer to this untouched world. But for now, we can admire it from afar and learn its fascinating story. The discovery of Antarctica. Unlike most places, Antarctica doesn't have an indigenous population or ancient cities. In fact, its existence was only theorized by ancient Greek philosophers, who called it an artos, meaning the opposite of the bear. They weren't talking about polar bears, but about constellations like Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, only visible in the northern sky. So in a way, Antarctica meant the land opposite the stars of the north. By the late 1700s and early 1800s, whaling and sealing expeditions were pushing further south past Cape Horn. They knew that going further meant stronger winds, floating icebergs, and dangerous seas. The first to cross the Antarctic Circle was Captain James Cook on January 17, 1773. Though he didn't see land, he came within 80 kilometers of it, close enough to spot rocks trapped in icebergs, hinting at land nearby. The first widely accepted sighting of Antarctica came in January 1820, when two ships under Captain Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen spotted land during a 2-year global exploration. But it wasn't until January 24, 1895, that the first undisputed landing occurred at Cape Adare by a whaling expedition led by Henry Bull. Fun fact, Antarctica is a desert. Yes, really. Despite all the snow and ice, it receives only about 10 millimeters of precipitation annually, less than the Sahara. So technically, it's the driest place on Earth. The challenge here isn't finding water, it's finding anything that isn't frozen. But don't worry, you won't die of thirst. Just make sure you're bundled up before stepping outside. Antarctica is also the coldest, windiest, and highest continent in the world. And time? It gets confusing. Since all lines of longitude meet at the South Pole, there's no official time zone. Scientists usually stick to the time zone of the country they came from. But with so many research stations from different nations, coordinating can get tricky. Imagine trying to schedule a meeting without waking up your international neighbor at 3 a.m. Still, life finds a way. The icy land is teeming with krill, which draw seals, whales, and, you guessed it, penguins. Penguins, Antarctica's comedic superstars. These tuxedo-wearing swimmers are better in the water than Olympic athletes. They waddle ashore to breed and huddle together to keep warm, often stealing pebbles from one another to decorate their nests. The emperor penguin, the largest of the species, can't fly, but it can leap up to 3 meters. And the seals? They're not just cute, they're excellent singers. These furry marine mammals thrive under the protection of the Antarctic Treaty and call the Southern Ocean home. But the true giants of the season are the whales. During summer, they migrate en masse to feast on krill-rich waters. So, while visiting Antarctica might not be in the cards for most of us, at least not yet, its story continues to unfold, mysterious, majestic, and wildly alive beneath the cold. Until the day comes when we can safely explore it in person, we'll just have to keep dreaming and maybe wear an extra sweater in its honor.